Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through one of the most fascinating and classic magical folk tales ever recorded. Today, we are unpacking the legendary story of Momotaro. We're going to explore a narrative that is just packed with miraculous beginnings, high-stakes adventure, tactical teamwork, and ultimately, a really profound lesson in loyalty and gratitude. If you love a great hero's journey, you are absolutely in for a treat today.
But before we get into all the intense battles and the legendary treasure, I want you to imagine something for a second. What if your breakfast suddenly split in half to reveal a mighty hero? I mean, it sounds totally bizarre, right? But practically every great story has that inciting incident, that exact moment where the mundane, everyday world is completely turned upside down by a miracle. And in this tale, our hook is exactly that, a seemingly ordinary meal that transforms into an extraordinary destiny.
Section 1. The Boy from the Peach. So let's set the scene with the people who had actually witnessed this miracle. Our story begins many hundreds of years ago with a very grounded, hardworking couple. We have an honest old woodcutter and his wife. One fine morning, they're just going about their daily chores. The old man goes off to the hills with his billhook to gather a faggot of sticks. Meanwhile, his wife heads down to the river to wash dirty clothes. And as she's washing, a beautiful peach comes floating down the rushing stream. Seeing this perfect, massive fruit, she picks it up and carries it home, thinking it would make a wonderful treat for her husband when he finally returns from his hard work in the hills.
Eventually, the husband comes home and the good wife sets this magnificent peach right before him. But just as she invites him to eat it, the fruit splits perfectly in two, right down the middle. And inside, a little puling baby is born right into the world. Now, the old couple is shocked, obviously, but they lovingly take the babe in and bring him up as their very own. And because he arrived inside this remarkable fruit, they give him a legendary name, Momotaro, which literally translates to Little Peachling.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 2. A Quest for the Ogres.
Because, as you might expect, a boy born from a peach isn't exactly destined for an ordinary life of washing clothes and gathering sticks. Following his path from birth to youth, he doesn't just grow up. By degrees, Little Peachling becomes exceptionally strong and unbelievably brave. He fully transitions from a miraculous baby into this incredibly powerful youth. And honestly, it's not long before he feels that pull of destiny. He decides it's time to take on a massive challenge and sets his sights on a location known only as the Ogres Island.
He tells his parents boldly, "I am going to the Ogres Island to carry off the riches that they have stored up there." But he's not just brave, he's strategic. He quickly adds, "Pray then, make me some millet dumplings for my journey." He knows for a fact he needs provisions to survive this. So his loving parents grind the millet, make the dumplings, and Little Peachling cheerfully takes an affectionate leave to begin his travels.
Section 3. Assembling the Animal Squad.
You can really think of this next sequence as the ultimate startup team-building exercise. Momotaro has the grand vision, but he needs a crew to pull off this heist, and those millet dumplings, well, they're about to become the ultimate signing bonus. First, as he's journeying, he falls in with a monkey who gibbers at him, "Kia, kia, kia! Where are you off to, Little Peachling?" Momotaro explains his quest for the ogre's treasure and reveals he happens to be carrying the very best millet dumplings in all Japan. The monkey says, "If you'll give me one, I will go with you." Boom! First team member secured. A little further down the road, he hears a pheasant calling, "Ken, Ken, Ken! Where are you off to, Master Peachling?" The exact same negotiation happens. The pheasant begs a dumpling, enters his service, and follows along. Shortly after that, a dog bounds up, crying, "Bow, wow, wow! Whither away, Master Peachling?" The dog also offers his services in exchange for just one of those nice millet dumplings. "With all my heart," says Little Peachling, and just like that, he has built a fiercely loyal fellowship.
Now the tension really builds when we compare the two sides of this conflict. On one hand, you've got an entire island populated by ogres, complete with a heavily fortified castle, heavy iron gates, and an ogre king. On the other side, you have a brave boy, a monkey, a pheasant, and a dog. Look, on paper, these odds look wildly mismatched. But as we're about to see, this fellowship leverages their unique, diverse talents absolutely perfectly.
Section 4. Battle at the Castle.
So the squad has finally crossed the distance and arrived right at the heavily guarded stronghold of the Ogres Island. It is time for action. What follows is a rapid, perfectly coordinated tactical infiltration. I mean, they don't just run up and knock on the front door. The pheasant uses its wings to fly straight over the castle gate. The monkey uses its agility to clamber right over the castle wall. Meanwhile, little Peachling, leading the dog, uses raw strength to force in the gate from the front. They literally hit the castle from the air, the walls, and the ground all simultaneously.
And the result is swift and completely triumphant. Once inside the castle, this small but mighty squad does battle with the fearsome ogres. The sheer shock and awe of their coordinated attack is just way too much for the enemy. The ogres are completely put to flight, and in the chaos, Momotaro actually manages to take the Ogre King himself as a prisoner. With their king captured, all the remaining ogres are forced to submit and do homage to little Peachling. The battle is officially won.
Section 5. Riches and a happy return.
The dust has finally settled, the enemies are conquered, and it is time for the victors to claim their prize. And I have to say, the hoard they uncover is staggering, and this brilliantly illustrates the sheer magical scale of their adventure. We aren't just talking about your standard gold and silver here, though they definitely have plenty of that. They acquire caps and coats that actually make their wearers invisible. They secure jewels which govern the very ebb and flow of the ocean's tide. They gather up precious coral, rare musk, brilliant emeralds, amber, and beautiful tortoiseshell. All of this immense magical wealth is laid right before little Peachling.
So, you have to ask, what does a young hero do with all the wealth in the world? Well, Momotaro gathers up his loyal animal companions and heads home, completely laden with riches. But he doesn't use this treasure to build some massive castle for himself. Instead, he uses it to maintain his foster parents, that honest old woodcutter and his wife, in absolute peace and plenty for the remainder of their lives. It is the ultimate display of filial piety and deep gratitude for the couple who originally took in a puggling baby from a peach.
As we wrap up this explainer today, I really want to leave you with a thought directly inspired by Momotaro's final act of loyalty. Ask yourself, who would you share your ultimate treasure with? Momotaro faced down literal ogres, not for personal glory, but to bring security and peace to those who loved him first. It's a pretty powerful reminder of why we take on our own journeys in life. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this incredible folktale today, and I genuinely hope it leaves you inspired to tackle whatever ogres might be standing in your way.